You're listening to a Monster Kid podcast.
Hi and welcome to A Dingo Ate My Movie, a podcast that features classic Ozploitation and other weird, wonderful, overlooked and underappreciated Australian films from the 70s, 80s and beyond. My name is Pete and I'm your host.
The Night Rider. That is his name. The Night Rider. Remember him when you look at the night sky.
Hey there and welcome back to A Dingo Ate My Movie, a podcast where we dive into some of Australia's most memorable films, from timeless classics, cult favourites and today's hits. My name is Pete and I'm your host. Today I'm happy to be joined by Tab as we are going to talk about Muriel's Wedding from 1994. Good morning, good afternoon, Tab. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here to talk about this with you because this is a movie that I've watched a lot of times throughout my life.
It's a bit of a departure. I think I mentioned at the top of my last episode that I'm changing things up a little bit with the podcast now and kind of generalizing a little bit more, but we'll still keep with the cult stuff and all those other sorts of things. But I just thought it'd be nice to, look at some of these other movies that just sit a bit outside of what we've been doing in the past, which is great. Muriel's Wedding follows awkward misfit Muriel Heslop, played by Toni Collette, I think in her second role. Second role, right? I think she did Cosy. Was it Cosy? I think was her first role. And she did some TV, I think, yeah. Anyway, Muriel Heslop, played by Toni Collette, dreams of escaping her small-town life in Porpoise Spit and having the perfect wedding. After stealing some money and heading to Sydney, she forms a life-changing friendship with the bold and funny Rhonda, played by Rachel Griffiths. As Muriel reinvents herself and chases her dream of getting married, she starts to realise that being true to herself matters more than any wedding. Funny, heartfelt, and full of ABBA, it's a classic Aussie coming-of-age story. It is heartfelt, but it's also very depressing.
It is really, really sad in places, but I think it does a great job of showing kind of the breadth of and depth of life, where there are fun times and there are, absurd things that happen to you. And then there's also some really sad and hard things that happen to you too.
It resolves well, which is nice.
Yes. Yeah.
The cast for the film was Toni Collette, as we mentioned, playing Muriel Heslop, and Rachel Griffiths playing Rodney Eppenstall, I think it is. Bill Hunter plays Bill Heslop, and Jeannie Drynan plays Betty Heslop. There's a lot of other cast that are fantastic as well, especially like her, I suppose, inverted commas, girlfriends.
Yeah.
which are very well played and really enjoyable as well.
Yeah.
It was directed and written by P.J. Hogan, and the cinematography was by Martin McGrath. Editor was Jill Bilcock. Music by Peter Best, not Pete Best from the Beatles, but another Peter Best. The budget was approximately $9 million Australian, and it made over $57 million USD worldwide, which is not bad on a $9 million investment.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was kind of a surprise hit, especially in America.
Where I've watched it, there's a 20th anniversary, even though it's, I think, 30 years old now. Blu-ray or DVD, which is available, I think, still, because I bought mine, I think it was late last year. You can see it locally streaming on Stan in Australia, and you can rent or buy it on Prime, and I'd say probably Apple and a few other places.
Yeah, I think it might be available on Netflix here in the States, because I know I watched it not too long ago on Netflix. I did end up getting rid of Netflix, but I also own a copy of it too.
Right, so. Right. Yeah. I think it's one of those things should always be able to buy on Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I look at the movie, when I see Porpoise Spit, where they base the movie, you could tell It was filmed in Queensland. Well, a local could tell you that. That was filmed in Queensland and Tweed Heads and Coolangatta, which is all. Tweed Heads is kind of like the very northmost point of New South Wales, right on the Queensland border. So you can basically be in one part of Tweed Heads and be, especially in daylight saving time, it gets quite confusing because you'll be in one part of Tweed Heads and you'll be stepping across to the other side and you'll suddenly be an hour behind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they shot in other areas, Moreton Island, and I think they also shot in Hamilton Island, which is where they set the
Hibiscus Island.
Yeah, Hibiscus Island, yeah. So Hamilton Island was very well known in the 80s and 90s as a bit of a getaway for those sort of things. I think what they're portraying in the movie is pretty close to a lot of that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
The story is based on PJ Hogan's own family dynamics. Apparently, his sister's experiences with his father, particularly where she actually did, from what I read, steal $15,000 from the family and came to Sydney. He asked her if he could write a screenplay based on that. And she said, sure, just as long as you don't name me in the screenplay. So that's where the idea came from, which is interesting that it comes from like a real life situation because it's quite an odd situation. So
yeah, definitely. And you kind of think of it being sort of out there, but knowing that it's a real thing, I guess I could see that happening. But wow, that's pretty intense.
The other bit that was quite interesting is that Toni Collette apparently gained 18 kilos, so let's say 40 pounds in 7 weeks to play this role.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I think I was listening to a review somewhere about the movie, might have been a YouTube video or something, and someone was kind of disappointed that, that they made her add the weight on to do the part, and they could have maybe got somebody that was already that size.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. And I think especially at that time, they were far more likely to hire somebody and be like, oh yeah, can you gain weight for this movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Than they would be to, plus size actresses weren't really a thing unless it was comedically oversized.
But it was amazing that this was only Toni Collette's second film. You can see it in it.
Yeah.
You can see her as a young actress in it. She's gone on to an amazing career.
Yeah, it was interesting having seen this as a kid and then having her show up in things like The Sixth Sense, or she was in a show that got really good reviews in the United States of Tara, where she played someone with dissociative personality disorder. And then, of course, she was in things like Hereditary and a bunch of other stuff. And people were like, oh, wow, she's so good. And you're like, I knew that way back in the day.
Exactly, yeah. And she's pretty funny. I was watching some interviews with her, and she doesn't mind swearing. Doesn't matter where she is. It's quite funny.
Yeah, she reminds me of Kate Winslet in that, where she kind of just swears with no thought to it, just because that's how she talks normally.
Yeah. And she seems pretty down to earth, so it's quite good.
Very much so, yeah.
It's interesting that also her fiance in the movie, Tim Sims, is apparently a playful nod to two popular Australian snacks, Tim Tams and Dim Sims. You know what a Dim Sim is, right?
Is it
It's a bit like a dumpling.
Okay, yeah.
But it's kind of, it's a bit like that. So that's where they came up with that name, which is quite funny.
I thought she just thought of it because it rhymed. I was just kind of like, oh.
Yeah. But it's funny how it was thought of. I think you could see that character coming up with that name that way.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah.
And also Bill Hunter was working on this film and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert at exactly the same time. Which
wow,
I don't know how he did.
He's another person where, I saw him in this. I said he's also in... Is he in Strictly Ballroom as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw him in Strictly Ballroom. And so I was very familiar with him. And seeing him pop up in other movies, you're just like, oh yeah, I've seen him in so many things. And also, obviously, Adventures of Priscilla, but I didn't see that until a little bit later.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, really?
I did buy the Blu-ray. I've got the Blu-ray, so it's coming.
If you're looking for somebody to do that with and you're not tired of having me on the show, I would love to.
That would be great. That'd be great. Now you'll be my first pick for that, I think. So,
Oh, well, thank you.
So yeah, it's amazing, and he plays that role so well in this movie. Like you don't like. I didn't like him at all, and that's obviously the way it's meant to be. But
right, and he's so likable in Adventures of Priscilla. It's like a 180 from this character.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in this, like, when I see this guy, and especially thought it when I watched the movie again last night, I'm pretty sure he hates his whole family, like literally hates his whole family. And it's quite awful.
Yeah.
But,
and his poor wife. Like, I know we'll talk quite a bit about the mom and how wonderful that performance is, but that's, as an adult, that's what I pay attention to, I think, the most, just because you don't really think about that as a kid, but as an adult, you're like, oh, you can see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't talk about this movie. I'm trying not to say can you hear me? But I'm saying it anyway. We can't talk about this movie really without talking about the music, right? And I've actually kind of got quite a bit of stuff that I wrote down and had to look at and had to think about. But this movie is so totally connected to ABBA, it's not funny, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And it was interesting to learn that he was looking to get permission to use ABBA's music, and initially they were like, no, you can't. And then he flew to England, to Europe, and they, sort of said yes, and if you can share some of the profits with them, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think the music then became really entrenched with the movie. And it plays a really important role in the film, I think, too. Like, when you think about where Muriel's kind of, whenever she's kind of down and out, she's playing ABBA, and there's a line in the movie where she sort of says to Rachel, my life's good, as an ABBA song, because I haven't listened to any ABBA songs lately, sort of thing. So, so that's kind of good, yeah. And I think it also paved the way for general interest. And everything I've read said that this led to, Mamma Mia, etc., for that as well.
I could totally see that. And even when you look at especially the picture that is on the playbill for Mamma Mia as a play, it's very similar to the poster for Muriel's wedding, where she's kind of got like confetti all around her and is holding her arms out. So that makes sense. I never would have thought of that. But as soon as I read this in the notes, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, you're probably aware of this, but I sent you a link last night to the music. But there's in 2016 they premiered a musical about Muriel's wedding, which I was kind of aware of at the time, but at the time I wasn't really thinking about it. But it was like, had extra songs written for it. There's a whole soundtrack out there on Spotify for it, and some of the reviews I read were really good. Some were kind of like not great because they wrapped it up too happily, and they sort of passed on a few of the stories and etc. But I guess that's how you going from screen to stage rather than the other way.
Yeah, I think it's probably stuck in with a bunch of other musicals made of movies, because that's kind of a thing right now where people are like, why does this need to be made? But from the trailer, because I did watch the trailer, it looks very fun. Like, I would rather see this than Mamma Mia, I think. But I think it probably gets lumped into stuff like Mean Girls, the musical, and things like that, where it just feels, those kind of things feel like almost like a cash grab.
So they're forced.
Yeah, but this kind of feels a little bit more organic, just because it doesn't have the music built into the story already.
Yeah. So I didn't see it. I assume if it comes on again, maybe we'll see it. I don't know. I was talking to May about this movie last night, and she actually doesn't like it very much.
Oh, does she not? Okay.
And for the main reason is she feels like she got duped when she saw the poster and all the other media. She thought it was going to be just one of those, light and airy kind of, musical movies, but it wasn't. So, and
Yeah.
she took it pretty personally, I think. But also there's a big connection I just want to really go through here, and I don't know if we'll actually get to it with any other podcasts we do, because there's not many that have other ABBA songs in them, but there's a big connection with Australia and ABBA, and Mamma Mia became a really big hit here before pretty much anywhere else in the world outside of Sweden. And the success it had here kind of like, launched the song in other markets and took it to number one in places like the UK, etc. They released Best of ABBA back in 1975, near the end of the year. I think it was November it came out. Became one of the biggest selling vinyl records in Australian history. It was 16 weeks at number one, sold over 1 million copies, which, when considering our population back in 1975 was only 13 million, that's a lot of records. So it was quite big. I think it's been surpassed, I would say, probably John Farnham's album. I'm trying to think of the name of it now, but it's the one with You're the Voice, but that probably surpassed it later on. But there's also a lot of connections. We've got Muriel's wedding, and then there's an Australian tribute band called Bjorn Again that have been touring like worldwide since 1988.
Wow.
And
okay.
I was having a look at their website last night, and they're still touring, and they've toured all over the world, which is amazing for an ABBA show. So ABBA's still big.
Yeah, that is amazing. I think ABBA also plays into the plotline of a little bit of Adventures of Priscilla. So having seen this as a kid and then Adventures of Priscilla as a teenager, I think I got to a point where I was like, does everybody in Australia just really love ABBA?
They did at one stage. And usually if you're at a wedding or something, there'll always be one or two ABBA songs. There'll always be Dancing Queen or Waterloo or something like that. And a cover band I used to be in, we played Waterloo a few times at gigs, and people just go nuts. It's crazy. It's like the other thing that really works in Australia is Nutbush City Limits, of all things. And they do this, there's this kind of weird dance people do to it. And and you can't go to a wedding in Australia without someone playing Nutbush City Limits, and everyone gets on the dance floor and does these kind of, it's almost like line dancing steps.
Yeah. We have a couple songs like that here, like Cha-Cha Slide or, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or Chicken Dance is a really popular one at weddings for some reason.
Oh, that used to be here, but not so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chicken Dance. Wow. Anyway, let's get on to our thoughts. So what was your initial thoughts of the film?
So I was introduced to this movie through my mom. She was always kind of willing to try and do movies if they seemed interesting. And I think she had seen Strictly Ballroom before she saw this one, really liked it. And I watched it with her because that one is a little less not family friendly, let's say. And she really liked it. She ended up watching or renting Muriel's Wedding and really loved that one. And then when I was a little bit older and it came on a free preview weekend, we watched it together. She also showed me Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So I, like I had said before, I spent a lot of my teens and early 20s thinking, wow, everybody in Australia really likes ABBA. But I think definitely as a kid, I found Muriel and Rhonda really relatable in this movie. I think as you get older, you see how relatable Betty is as well. Betty is Muriel's mom. And I was always really focused on Toni Collette's performance, which is, of course, awesome. But this time watching it through and when I just watched it for fun not too long ago, I was really struck by Rachel Griffiths and Jeannie Drynan and how wonderful they were. And there's so many subtle little things, especially that Jeannie Drynan does, that really tells you the story of that character. And I think watching it through the last couple times I've watched it, Rhonda is, if you want a hero in this movie, Rhonda is really the true hero of the film. She is kind of always herself, always trying to bring Muriel back to reality. And it's as much her story of making it out and making a life for herself as it is Muriel's in the end.
Yeah, it's like she's a moral center almost.
Yeah.
That's great. And I thought, that as well, especially the second time I watched it, it's an interesting film because, and I guess I'll go into what I was going to say is, like I said at the top, I thought this was going to be a lighthearted musical romp, but I thought everyone liked it, so hey, let's do an episode about it. It'll be fun, and it is fun. It's a fun movie, but I couldn't have been more wrong about what I was actually going to see. and this is where I find it really interesting. And yes, you could say this is a inverted commas chick flick, but I think if you're a guy, you really should give this one a go. Especially if you like good movies and you like good films and you like seeing a good character arc, especially of a few characters, quite a few characters. It's very well acted.
Yes.
The movie goes to places I would never have expected. Like I said, based on what you see, and it's almost like, I don't know if when they were putting the marketing together for this film, whether or not they were thinking, we can get more people in if we do the bright and bubbly, and once we've got them sitting down in the movies, and they'll watch it, right? But I'm not sure whether they should have maybe put a little bit more, on the rest of the story. But I guess it's almost like a surprise. But for me, it was like going into Dusk Till Dawn. And
where you think it's one movie and then it takes a hard left and it becomes something else.
And it's really interesting because, and I think I've got this for my wrap up, but I'll say it now, that they created a character in Muriel that you normally wouldn't like. Like she's a pathological liar for starters.
Yeah.
And she lives in some sort of dream world most of the movie. And it's almost like she came across in parts of the movie as like, I don't want to say there's something wrong with her, but she just came across quite strange and very, very unique and eccentric sort of person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it comes from being in the family she's in. Like, she's very sheltered in some ways and kind of enabled as far as not having to really get out there and be in the real world until she kind of just goes out of fear of what her dad's going to say about stealing the money. But I think, her situation kind of creates this very unique person that hasn't experienced a lot and is both delighted and scared by everything going on. That's kind of the scene right before Rhonda becomes paralyzed or loses the use of her legs. She seems both afraid and delighted by what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. I think one of the things I did want to touch on was the theme of like parental influence and control, especially from the father. He's got, I would say that he is almost single-handedly responsible for everyone in that family having really low self-esteem.
Oh, definitely.
Except for some reason that younger girl.
She seems to have made it out,
But everyone else in the family, like they have a terrible view of themselves, and they are lazy and they don't do anything. But he doesn't help by just saying to them that you're lazy.
Yeah, and it seems like they haven't got a lot of support in the sense that they've got a lot of encouragement. Clearly, their mom loves them a lot and takes care of them, but to the point where they're not willing to do anything for themselves almost.
There's always that recurring theme of getting the backyard clean done and never gets done, and It's terrible. And that sort of feeds into the other themes of, like, I think mental health and neglect of these
Right.
kids in this family. It doesn't sound like we're talking about a film that is bright and chirpy and has ABBA songs.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I think it's one of the biggest themes in the film for me.
Yeah, I think when you see the mom, especially when she is told down the line, oh, you have to make tea for dad, and she puts the tea bag in the water and then puts it in the microwave and is sort of vacantly staring at it. That was one of the small nonverbal things I was talking about that Jeannie Drinan does, where you're like, oh, I know exactly who this woman is, and I know kind of what she's going through mentally, and she's just so checked out because no one does anything for her and she can't do anything for herself. She's constantly taking care of other people. So she's just sort of zoned out, you know?
And she's married to a malignant narcissist, and
Yes.
who's always go on.
Who is cheating on her pretty openly. Like they have that succession of times when they show up places and then his mistress will be like, oh, hi. And it's always, oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, that's like a line that gets used all through the movie. Yeah,
yeah,
it is. And I guess, all right, let's talk about her mum. It's really sad story. I want to get that out of the way, then we can talk about some of the more fun stuff. Her mother is unbelievably downtrodden and obviously has lots of mental issues. The point I wanted to make with her is, and one of the great pieces of this film is the first time you're introduced to her in the film and she's standing at the kitchen bench and just staring off into space is almost mirrored with the last time we see her in the film when she's doing exactly the same thing. It's so sad. And I think for me, I was shocked when she passed away, when she died.
Yeah.
And obviously, from the sounds of it, took her own life.
Right.
And I think it was a whole lot of things. It was the way she was treated. And then when it was so sad. She got a bus to Sydney to see Muriel's wedding so just to give you a bit of background, she goes through a singles magazine, which is obviously at the time, and gets caught up with a swimming coach who has a swimmer from South Africa who wants to become Australian so he can swim in the Olympics. And he offers $10,000 for her to marry him. And so it's a whole sham of a marriage. But her mother, did you hear that? I didn't. Oh, no. Good. It was just me. Sorry, I thought I had my notifications turned off. Anyway, so it's a sham of a marriage, and she travels all the way to Sydney on a bus because she can't afford airfare to see her daughter get married. She gets a taxi there. She gets and stands at the back of the church, and when Muriel's leaving the wedding, she walks straight past her and doesn't even acknowledge her. Yeah. And I'm not even sure she's there, but Muriel's so in the moment, I don't think she would know anyone's there, really.
Well, I think there's an indicator later on, maybe at the funeral, where Muriel finds out, oh, she was there. She didn't realize she was there. Yeah,
because she happens to be just looking the other way when she goes past her.
Right.
And it's just so sad. And the word I want to use is she's such a pathetic figure, but that's kind of insulting. But that's the way it feels to me, right? She's so downtrodden, and it's just absolutely awful. And then the way that Deirdre speaks about her after she dies, oh my God.
Yeah.
When she's saying she basically did it for her father.
Well, yeah, like at least her life means something because now he can kind of get off with some sympathy, I guess. And he does not care that she's gone, other than the fact that he got a letter from the former prime minister, and he had to call their office to get it. It's not like the guy sent it to him out of the goodness of his heart, you know?
Yeah. And that scene in the church where he gets one of his sons to turn around and check out the press at the back of the church.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
And and you do see the mom being so supportive of the kids, and it's like she's invisible to everybody, because she will talk about when they think Muriel has been really successful selling the cosmetics, she's like really talking her up to his business associates, and nobody's paying attention to her. And, you know, it is really sad all the way through. And you can see, like, she used to be a very with it loving person, and this is sort of beating her down. And I think that's also, seeing how passive and how sweet she is through the whole movie, when she gets mad at her son after
Yes.
Bill says he's going to divorce her. You see how much she's been holding back, and how, like, how stepped on she really is, because it's the first emotion we really see out of her.
Yeah, and it's
other
shocking
than
too,
sadness.
right? When you see it.
Yeah.
It's a very sad character, and it's perfectly acted. Like, she just does such an amazing job in that role.
Yeah. One of the other really poignant things is when she is shopping and her feet are hurting, and she's like, I'm just going to put these shoes on. And I fully believe she intended to pay for them. She was just kind of daydreaming in line, and didn't really think about the fact that she had put those on during her shopping trip. And that's kind of the last straw, or is it an excuse for it to be the last straw for Bill. And I think she feels really badly about that, but I also think she didn't intend to steal them.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. So it's pretty sad, but and to me, there's two parts of this movie that were really shocking. One was the treatment of the mother and what happens in the end, and the second is Rachel? Oh my God,
Rhonda.
Rachel's the actor, I think. But Rhonda is her injury comes out of nowhere as well. So those sort of things really change the whole mood of the movie in that part. The other thing I want to talk about that might be more fun is Muriel's friends. So there's Tanya, Cheryl, and Janine, I think. So
and then you also have Nicole, who is like Tanya's friend, but not really Muriel's friend.
And they're like, to me, they look like middle class bogans to me. Because the way they talk and what everything they do, and Sophie Lee is really good in this. She's plays Tanya. She also plays the daughter in The Castle, and she's really good in that. Have you seen The Castle?
Oh, okay. I haven't.
The Castle is amazing. It's really good. It'll make you feel really good if you can see that. It's great. It's a great movie, and she's in that as well. I think it's funny it's not funny, but the way they treat Muriel at the start and try to push her out of group. But I love that scene in the restaurant when when they're going to when they're talking about her husband, Tanya's husband, who she's just married. We see in the first scenes of the movie. What's his name? Chuck.
Oh, Chuck.
And straight away, we get that scene at the beginning of the movie where he's screwing. Is it Cheryl?
Nicole.
That's it. Yeah, in the laundry, and Muriel sees that, and that sort of comes back a bit later. But
he's also having an affair with someone else.
Yeah.
We find out later.
And I mark these as explicit, these episodes anyway, but like she talks about sucking him off or something like that, and that this other girl sucked Chuck off, but she didn't do anything else out of respect for her, and this sort of stuff. It's crazy. But
and then later she gives that girl's husband a blowjob, and so she understands, like, people make mistakes.
It's hilarious. So they're really good. They're great. And then there's the big fight at the holiday. That's great. So which is fantastic. Let's talk about that scene, because that's a great scene. Like the Waterloo dancing and the time where Rhonda meets up with Muriel at the resort, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's like back-to-back amazing scenes, because you get the scene where Rhonda sort of acts very friendly to them, and then gets to tell them off because for a split second you think she's gonna leave Muriel to go hang out with them, and you're like, no. And then she pulls out that "I'm not alone, I'm with Muriel" line.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and it's interesting because that whole scene, we've got a couple of great scenes, like you mentioned. There's the scene where they dance to Waterloo at the what is some sort of talent thing, which they do it though. Or I don't know if they do them anymore, but I know definitely when I was playing resorts in the 80s, they would definitely have those sort of things. So I'm assuming they're still around the early 90s, and that piece is great. Seeing Barry Crocker there as the compere. Barry Crocker, he's only in it for 3 seconds, 10 seconds, but I was like, oh, great. There's another link to another podcast we did because he played Barry Mackenzie in The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie. But
nice.
But yeah, it's a great scene. The dancing is great. The whole choreography of that is fantastic.
Yeah, and you have intercut between them dancing. Nicole kind of gives Tanya a look, and then Tanya just leaps over the table and they start fighting.
And Nicole's already got a black eye. So
she does, yeah.
So obviously something's happened. But it's interesting. If you look at that scene, I noticed it last night. I was like, there's a scene where you look, they start fighting, and then you have a view from behind them looking at Rhonda and Muriel dancing. And I'm like, hang on. That's Tanya's little flower hair still sitting there like they're watching him. So it's like it's been cut differently. But anyway, whatever.
Right.
But, it's a great scene. And then the scene where kind of, Rhonda and Muriel are hanging out outside with a bottle of Moet, which is very, very bogan Australian-ish sort of, even though it's an expensive, well, it's not super expensive wine, but people kind of, it's in Australia, it's kind of like, if you're drinking Moet, you're doing really well, right?
Right.
But I don't think it's that expensive, or it used to be, but it's not so much anymore. But anyway, it's a drink of choice of upper class bogans, basically, like me, and
it's kind of the whole vibe of Hibiscus Island. Yeah. It's like it's sort of fancy, but not really.
Yeah.
Like Sandals here.
Yeah. But we get to hear Fernando and them singing Fernando together and all this. It's really cute, and it's really the start of their relationship, and it's interesting. I think you touched on it. This movie is more. It's called Muriel's Wedding, but the movie is all about Rachel and Muriel and their relationship, which is kind of nice. So it's good. The other notes I had, the sex in this movie is really loud.
Yeah.
It's like they're really making the point, right? That they're having sex. So,
well, they're kind of balancing out some of the sadder things with some kind of hyper real absurd reactions. It's not just the sex, but like the way that the Muriel's friends talk to each other is very animated and kind of hyper real too.
Yeah.
So I think it's a kind of to balance the tone a little
just
bit.
A bit, yeah. All right, so we'll talk about what our favorite scenes might be. Do you want to go first? I think we might have already touched on one of yours, but anyway. I wanted to touch on the Waterloo scene really briefly, which we already did. But I did want to talk about the wedding scene. I think that's a really important scene in the movie. Because throughout the movie, Muriel, kind of as a stress reliever or something to make her feel good, has been going to different wedding shops in Sydney and trying on wedding dresses. And then she gets the clerks to take pictures of her because she says a family member is sick. Kind of, it starts with Rhonda's accident, and she says, "Oh, my mom's in the hospital," kind of alluding to what Rhonda's going through. And they offer to take a picture for her, and she figures out she can get other shops to do that too. So she has a whole photo album full of wedding dress pictures of her in different wedding dresses. And she's obsessed with weddings and obsessed with getting married. And so when she does kind of get this opportunity to marry David Van Arkel, who is the swimmer,
you see this very elaborate wedding scene that she's clearly put together, and everybody else is very uneasy. I think partially because they know it's probably not for real, but partially also because she has just made wedding choices that are very specific to her, which I love. It's a complex scene because Muriel's a complex character, and I kind of cheer her on for doing her own thing and having the ABBA song and picking the wedding dress that she likes and going for the thing that she wants versus what she should have based on other people's choices. But at the same time, you're just like, no, don't marry this guy. Like, don't marry somebody that doesn't love you. And then also when she talks to Rhonda, you can see how much of it is like, I just needed to show them that I'm good enough. And she always was. And Rhonda's like the only person that knows that. So it's really heartbreaking for Rhonda to see that too.
Yeah, that's great. And the wedding thing is interesting. And the relationship she has with the swimmer guy is interesting because obviously they start off, they have the wedding, they go back to his unit or his apartment. He says, this is the kitchen, this is the lounge room, here's the gym equipment, this is my room and this is your room. And so it's very obvious. But she doesn't seem to be, she's a little bit disappointed, I think, but she doesn't seem to be too worried. And then later on in the film, after her mother has passed away, he follows her up to Queensland and actually kind of, I wouldn't say he's acting. He seems to care for her, genuinely care for her in the film.
Yeah.
And they admit to each other that they don't love each other, but it seems like they've actually built some sort of relationship there where they have like a mutual respect or something.
Yeah, I think he, like you said, he cares about her and he clearly sees that she's a good-hearted person, which I do think even though she does some bad things, just like all of us, you know, she is a good-hearted person, even though she does things, she's less than honest, or she does things that hurt other people. So I think he does care about her, and it's almost like he cares about her enough to be like, we could do this, keep this going, you know, if you wanted to. But she, at that point, she is ready to start being really authentic and stop living in a fantasy world. And she's the one that calls it off. And he does let her keep the money. He's kind of a dick to her the whole time until that point. And so you get to see some growth from him as well, which is really nice. Really, the only people that don't have an arc are kind of the dad. The dad doesn't have much of an arc. And then the friends. The friends are there to be... They're
almost comic relief, right?
So they don't... Yeah, exactly.
Which is good because I think this movie needs it. So.
It does. And you also even have an arc with the siblings who are also kind of there for comic relief. Like her sister is, I think the only thing her sister says throughout the movie until the mom dies is, "Oh, you're terrible, Muriel," which is it is really funny. But then you really see a beautiful performance from that actress as well. Like you weren't expecting to get much out of her based on the rest of the movie, but she gives a really heartfelt performance talking about how she found her mom and how she doesn't know what she's going to do. And, you know, that I think everyone was cast so well in this film.
And the story,
even the little boyfriend that Muriel has at the wedding, he shows up at the wedding and he looks genuinely sad.
Bryce. I'm like, whatever happened to Bryce?
Yes.
He was at the wedding. I'm like, I wonder if in another, whether something happened when she came back to Sydney or who knows. But yeah, it's interesting. It might have been, seeing what she did might have been enough for him to go, nope, staying away. So
yeah.
But, and I think the other thing that you're talking about with her sister, that whole scene is fantastic, the way she, talks about it. And then the story that she tells where she found the pills next to her in the bed, but the doctor took the pills away and just said it was a heart attack. And it was terrible just to, your father's had enough drama or something like that. I'm like, God, he deserves it, right? He should know. But yeah, she's really good. For me, the scenes I like, there's two right next to each other. So there's the scene in the flat after they go out to the nightclub. So she's with Bryce and Rhonda's just on her own, and she picks up two guys, two American sailors at the nightclub. And there used to be this thing, I don't know if it still happens. There used to be this thing like if the American Navy came to town, then a lot of girls would go off to a lot of the nightclubs in Sydney hoping to meet one. This is true. This happened.
Oh, yeah. It happens in America in port cities, too. It's called Fleet Week.
Yeah.
So, or it did, there's jokes about that in our media as well.
Yeah. So, she goes and takes two of them home. And that whole scene where Muriel comes home and hears them, once again, this is going back to the loud sex, but it's not even, to me, it doesn't even sound sexual. It's just funny the way they're doing it.
Yes. Oh,
it's quite funny. And it becomes almost slapstick, right? When Muriel and Bryce are sort of awkwardly trying to get it on in the living room and he can't get her leather stuff off and she's laughing, and then instead of unzipping her trousers, he's unzipping the bean bag and the beans go everywhere.
Yeah, and they go
and the bird nest goes out, the bird cage goes out the window, and then the guys run in fully naked and she looks up right at their crotches and just starts laughing. It's hilarious. And then we get this whole piece where Rhonda sort of falls down against the wall and sits on the ground. And then when everything's died down, she says, "I can't feel my legs." And it's like, and so straight away, the whole movie takes a turn. And then we have the next scene where she's in the hospital and they learn what's actually happened to Rhonda about her having this growth or this cancer it's on a spine, I think, and they have to do surgery, and we have a little montage of the surgery, and then we have the rehab, and then they find that it's gone back again. The whole movie turns on those two scenes, I think, to me. I mean, before that, yes, that Muriel's different and she's, doing all this other stuff, but I think once you get to that point, that's the what's the movie I mentioned before? Dusk Before, what is it? Dusk.
Oh, from Dusk Till Dawn.
That's the From Dusk Till Dawn. That's the Selma Hayek dancing scene to me. That's where the whole movie turns and becomes really serious for quite a long time. And I found it quite good. And this is where I'm saying I don't think this is just and I hate to use the term, it's not just a chick flick. I think it's a bit more than that. It's actually a film that's worth looking at. I was surprised that I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of guys, especially from the name and even the poster is very centered on the wedding dress and the wedding celebration. And I think the trailer is probably very, very much focused on the coming of age story for Muriel. It would probably be a deterrent for most guys. And I think most people I know that have seen it have been women. I think it's a really important movie for young women, though, and it surprisingly holds up despite being from the 90s. There's not too much in there that's cringy or inappropriate for now.
and ABBA's timeless, right?
Yeah, ABBA's timeless. Yeah, exactly. But I think that it, like we said it before, it's full of great performances. It has a lot of fun music. It has heart and depth. And you don't get too many movies about female friendship.
No.
This is a really great representation of that. Because like you said, it's really about most of the movie is about Muriel and Rhonda and the love stories between them. There's not really a love story with a romantic partner in this movie at all.
It's interesting that she's kind of, Muriel has this thing in her head about, I think she's more in love about being in love than she is about actually being in love. I don't know if that even makes sense, but she kind of likes all the trappings of it, but I don't know if she really understands what it is. And then she eventually, I think, finds that love in her friend, which is really interesting.
And she learns to love herself too. I think there's a really cool video where Toni Collette's talking about different outfits she's worn. They've done that with a lot of different actors and actresses. And they have a section about on Muriel's wedding. And she really talks about how the clothing in the movie sort of shows the character arc of Muriel. She starts out wearing really unflattering things that don't fit her and don't suit her. And as she discovers more about herself and becomes more self-aware, her wardrobe changes into stuff that she clearly likes and has chosen for herself because she likes it and she likes the way she looks in it. And I think that's a really important visual that you don't probably think about when you're watching the movie, but when she explains it that way, it makes sense.
It does.
And I think it probably informs how you see the character too.
I think so. Yeah, she gets her hair changes, everything changes. Yeah,
Mhm.
I did pick up on that
Yeah.
a little bit last night. Actually, I was thinking
Yeah,
those sort
yeah.
of thoughts. I was like, oh, she's changed her hair. She looks neater, tidier. She's wearing
Her makeup is a
makeup's
little
bit
more
better,
subtle.
yeah. She's wearing the
Yeah.
leather pants and the and the other stuff.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like, yeah, she's feeling better about herself. And then she's kind of dragged back into that life when her mother passes away. And that's where I think she makes the decision that she's going to change completely. So
Mhm.
I think the only thing and I know it's a movie, right? So I think Rhonda was really easily sold in the last scene. Like,
She was. To be fair, though, the option was to go back to Sydney with her friend, who is a very caring person, and stay with her mom in this tiny little town with these other horrible girls. So maybe she didn't have to sell her too hard.
Maybe an easy decision. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. I think for me, I mean, if you got any final thoughts you want to go through?
I think this is the perfect movie to get into now, especially for younger people that might be listening to your show, because the 90s are kind of coming back for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And this is a time capsule from the 90s, especially like her friends and Chook are all so 90s it hurts, pretty much. I'm sure you knew guys like Chook.
Oh, yeah. I knew you guys like Chook in the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, there you go. But it has a story that's really timeless and represents female friendships in a really honest and well-rounded way that I think we don't see in movies a lot, even now. And it's just fun. If you like 90s fashion, if you like the 90s aesthetic, this is a great movie to check out that still holds up.
I think so. I mean, for me, it's like if you haven't seen it and you're a guy listening, and I'm sure most of the people listening to this podcast are probably blokes, but I would say give it a go. You may not like it. It's not for everyone. But give it a go on the basis that it's a good film. And
definitely. It has amazing performance.
Absolutely. The director, writer, PJ Hogan, like he managed to create this character who's like insecure. She's, loose with the truth and comes from a dysfunctional family. But somehow you can't help but like her even with all that. So if you let the film take you on her journey and her figuring out what she wants to do with her life and how she wants to, and the changes she has to make, then I think it's a pretty rewarding sort of film to watch. Don't be fooled by the poster. It's basically what I'd say. Yeah. It's pretty much, I don't know. I was going to say it won't be everyone's cup of tea in a microwave, but I did really enjoy it. And it's kind of like, for me, I put it up on Letterboxd as a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. So.
That's pretty high praise. Yeah, I think it's really well paced too. Where I haven't seen the Mamma Mia play, but I remember watching the movie and feeling like it drags a lot. And this, not that they're the same thing at all, but this is very well paced. So if you're thinking of it in the context of, oh, it's a chick flick, it definitely isn't, but it's it doesn't drag anywhere.
No, it's really tight. Really tight. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I loved it. So I was shocked.
I'm glad.
I was shocked. So, and it's one of those movies that, as a bloke, you're sort of like, oh, should I let people know that I really like this movie? I'm like, oh, fuck it. I liked it. It was good. It's a good. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
And it's not what people think it is based on the cover.
It's not. So. It's not. It's very from dusk till dawn.
Yeah.
Maybe not as violent, but it's
no.
But it is good. It is really, really good, and definitely worth your time. So it's great. All right, Tab. So what are you up to at the moment? What's happening in your podcasting life and whatnot?
Well, I'm mostly behind the scenes right now. You can, if you would like me to edit your work, if you have a podcast of your own, I am on Fiverr and Upwork, and you can hire me to do your editing and do transcription for you, and even make little social media videos for you. I do that for a couple of other shows too. I charge really reasonable rates, and if you say that you heard me on Pete's show, I will give you a discount.
Wow.
So.
How do they find you on Fiverr? Anyone they need to search for?
I think it's just Fiverr and my name.
Okay.
So Tabitha, I can send you a link.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I can put it in the notes. Yeah, be awesome.
Yeah. What
else? Anything else?
That's pretty much it right now. I'm working on trying to get more Stiletto Banshees episodes out. That might be a little bit, just because I'm also working at Barnes & Noble.
It's a great job
to bring
for you.
in the money. Yeah, I get to talk to people about books all day, which I love.
Awesome.
So.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks so much. It's always great having you on, and you make it so easy to do these episodes. It's really good. I don't have to feel like I'm waiting for someone to talk or anything like that. It's quite good. And
well, thank you.
And it's great just catching up with you. So thanks very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, of course. I love coming on.
Excellent.
So.
Thank you so much. And when we return, we'll see what's coming up next.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
This is the counting house. An impregnable fortress, electronically scrutinized, patrolled by an army of guards. They say the counting house cannot be taken. They're wrong. They're $20 million wrong.
Get all those cages. Come on, move it. This one.
Once in a while, a thriller dares to be more. Money Movers takes a story from today's headlines and brings you the secrets of security, the forbidden areas of crime and corruption.
That's an alarm and I'll blow your head off. They got $2 million in that van. $2 million? What's it matter? You've been around money too long. You're out of your head. I've been planning this job for 5 years. 5. And I don't want it fouled up by some half-wit getting in before us. Or any 18-year-old tarts who've been listening to you talk in your sleep. Kick in! We steal $20 million. Give it to you. Put on a false moustache and piss off to I don't know where.
Trust is the name of the game, Brian.
Trust? Hey, let the exit guy.
Money Movers.
You take the wheel. Come on, move!
Catch them if you can.
Thanks for listening to this episode of A Dingo Ate My Movie. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. It really helps more people find us. You can also find more episodes and info over at dingomoviepod.com. We're also on socials, Blue Sky, Facebook and Instagram under Dingo Movie Pod. Are you interested to hear the music from the films we talk about? Check out our playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. Just search A Dingo Ate My Movie. And if you'd like to support the show, you can buy me a coffee over at buymeacoffee.com, Dingo Movie Pod. Thanks again, and I'll see you next episode.
How's he recovering from that stroke?
He's better than he was.
You're terrible, Muriel.
Your head and back. We all have a different shape to the head and neck. By sleeping on a pillow that
back.
perfectly to your shape, you relieve stress on muscles.
You're terrible, Muriel. Hello?
It's me, Muriel.
You're terrible, Muriel.